Good day, everyone. Welcome to Rants with Randy. It is January 22nd, 2026, 2 days after Trump's speech at Davos. The rant today is about somewhat about the speech, but about Alberta separation, and we'll get to that in a roundabout fashion. It's the reasons for separation. Like, why should we separate? Why, you know, should we even be thinking about it? Well, everybody knows that the globalist type agenda from Carney that Alberta is suffering financially. We could be doing very well. Actually, all of Canada could be doing very well, but for whatever reason, they choose not to. Carney doesn't want Canada to prosper. And he went before Davos, 2 days before Davos, and went to China and made deals with them. Now, the deals he made were for canola and electric vehicles. Well, electric vehicles are going to really hamper or hinder the automotive industry in Ontario. And then the canola thing, they reduced the tariffs for, I don't know, 7 months or 9 months or something. So that will definitely help the farmers. But there are a lot of other places we can make deals. You don't have to go to China. I mean, China is a big financial threat the whole world over. So the thing I'd like to get at is USA has been in existence for 250 years. That's a good thing. Okay? But the other part of that is it's a nation in decline. I mean, they call it Make America Great Again. So, Make America Great Again, it means that they're going downhill and he wants to bring it back up to where it used to be. Mr. Trump is doing very well for his country, and so he should be. We need the same kind of leadership here, which we're not getting. Uh, Mr. Carney is more concerned with globalism, and he's been in that realm for the majority of his working life. So I just don't trust him at all. Okay. Anyways, okay. So the United States has been, why separate? We need to be an independent country. Okay. Alberta, it's Saskatchewan. If they come, great. If Northern BC comes, that's even greater. Okay. But we can do this. Now, USA is in decline. If you take a look, I've done research, a lot of looking around for a long time. And the United States, okay, the key factors for um, a decline in civilization is to go back to look at Rome and Greece, okay, and what happened with them, even the Ottoman Empire. That okay, one of the big things was debt. The United States is $38 trillion in the hole. I mean, and Trump says he's going to start paying that down. Well, we got to see it happen first. You know, the reason I'm saying all this is we're their neighbor. Okay, what if something was financially was to happen where like the world ganged up on them and sunk them? What's going to happen to us? If we're really closely tied to them, we're going to go down too. We can't let that happen. We need to have a little foresight here. Right now it's like United States and Canada is like United States is like a Wolverine and we're like a lemming sitting there. So what? I mean, if they wanted to come and take our stuff, well, how are we going to stop them? Right? I mean, the rest of the world would be in outrage, but still, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, we've allowed ourselves to become in this position, and it's our own fault. Okay. No, we're not doing what we should be doing. We're depending on the states, which is wrong. Okay. I believe. Anyways, Carney went out and made some deal with China for electric vehicles and for canola. And so he should be, right? But China? I mean, this is not a good thing. Okay. There's a whole other markets out there, and we should be exploring those. We should be, I think this in the long run, we should be giving Trump a letter of or a commendation for putting tariffs on us to force us into finding new markets. And even with Carney, If I was a boss, I would have done what he did, but I wouldn't do it with the same people. And when he brought in electrical vehicles, is going to hurt the automotive industry down east. The thing for the farmers is good. Tariffs got lifted for 7 or 9 months, so that's good for 7 or 9 months. Great. Okay, but we need more than that. So the what I just want to make the point I want to make today is that the United States is in a decline. Well, I don't care. Trump's going to come up and he's going to say all these wonderful things from his speech there, like they couldn't be doing better. And the stock market's going to double. It's going to double again. So what do you just is that? What's the end goal here? Is that just your continuation of everything? Is it? It's not sustainable. Okay, and even I got this kind of a question. Okay, that he's placing tariffs on automotives and all sorts of things, right? And he wants to drive people to come into the United States and build their manufacturing, and so he should. But the question is this: now you're going to produce goods in the states using not cheap. It's not cheap labor. The reason that the manufacturing left the United States was because there was cheaper labor and cheaper costs. Otherwise, so you produce the goods cheaper. Right now, you're going to bring it back to the United States. Your operating costs are up. Your labor costs are up. So now those things are going to cost more. Now he's going to try and sell them to who? So I mean, this thing needs to play itself out. So I don't know. I just feel that because of their debt and servicing their debt and all the things that they have going, I mean, the world is pushing back against the United States for all the bullying they've done all over the world, And you ask me, well, Alberta could become the 51st state. Well, would I want to become an American? No. Why? Because they have a really bad reputation around the world. I know people from the States who go on vacation and they tell people we're from Canada. Canada's respected around the world. So I want to keep that, but we need to advance that into Western Canada. Okay. Now, um, the problems we have in Canada are globalist government. Carney's global wants to move it to that. He wants to, um, you know, 15-minute cities. You should own nothing and you should be happy. You have a basic universal income. If you want that, then just don't do anything. Just sit where you're at, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay. So, anyways, the U.S. $38 trillion in debt, studying ancient civilizations, Rome, Greece, that the same problems that are plaguing the United States now plagued Rome and Greece. Okay. Big time debt. Okay. And military overextension. And what, okay, military overextension. U.S. has 750 bases in 80 countries. They have 1.3 million personnel. That's including domestic. Okay. The 750 bases do not include domestic bases. So those are based in the United States and based in Alaska. Okay. Uh, a budget of between 874 billion and 997 billion last year. They're projected for '07 is $1.5 trillion. Now, you say the debt it keeps going up, and you talk about trillion, 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 trillion. We don't know what trillion is. I'll give you an example so we can put it into time frame so you can get a handle on just exactly how much it is. If we talk about a million, say a million seconds is roughly 12 days. Okay, a million seconds is 12 days. A billion seconds is 32 years. So, so 12 days, 32 years. A trillion seconds is 32,000 years. So it's like astronomically much more. Um, what else we got here? Um, their budget is more than twice the top 30 NATO countries. 40% of global military expenditures is made by the states. 40% of the world. We also have an aging population and increased healthcare costs. These are all things, I mean, back in the Roman days, they didn't have aging healthcare costs, but we do. Okay. The key factors to decline are wars. Wars are expensive. Okay. Like I said, 750 bases in 80 countries worldwide. Like, isn't that a little excessive? Okay. And it's okay. The other thing that's been happening 2 days before Davos, I don't know if you know this or not. Actually, probably 2 weeks beforehand, the Chinese started selling off the U.S. Treasury bonds. So what's that? Treasury bonds is like when people buy the debt of somebody else. How it exactly works, the mechanics involved, I'm not sure, but I do know this from what they say that it's going to affect the U.S. economy. Now, if they were, Japan started too. Okay, China was 2 weeks ago, Japan a couple days before, and somebody else was doing it too. So they're starting to sell off the debt because why? And buy gold because they have no confidence left in the American dollar. And so that's when that happens, it means people are thinking they're betting that the United States is going to go down. Okay, that's what it is. So um, again, another thing that was key to collapse of civilization is internal strife. Now, you take a look at what's happening in the states. I mean, I think it's gotten better. Uh, However, the two factions are still there, and I suppose they always will be there. But it wasn't that long ago. Some people were thinking they're headed for civil war. And the thing is, I don't want the United States to go down. I don't, because it would affect us. Right now, it would we'd go down the pipe too. Whatever affects them affects us majorly. So us getting new markets is a good thing. We need to, and especially the West, to detach ourselves from down east and become our own country and do our own self-determination. I mean, the federal election, they know the elections by the time it reaches the Manitoba border. They know who's going to be in power because of all the concentration of all the population down east. So, I mean, we deserve self-determination, don't we? Are we, it's just like, okay, so let's say globalism works. So everybody in the whole planet, you're going to take your orders from what, Brussels or someplace else? Are going to determine your future? I don't think so. Okay. Anyways, so, and our separation is not just based on oil. However, that is a big thing. And number one, everybody's focused on the money. Okay. But self determination. Okay. Again, if the United States goes down, we're going to go with them. So we need to detach from that, move away from that. Um, okay. I propose this that it was MAGA, making Alberta great again, that we coined a new phrase for Alberta, making Alberta great. No again. We've never been great, but we can be great. The people, the pioneering spirit that's here, we need to exploit that. We need, okay, if you want to make it, what Alberta should do is this. Uh, Danielle Smith should, first of all, Canada Pension Plan, move that here. Um, the Actually, in reality, the Canadians, Albertans, have paid into CPP and OAS, and they owe us that money. Okay, so it's not like we're asking them to do something. We gave the money, they invested the money. Now they owe us that, so that's a no-brainer. Okay, um, what we need to do is develop our industry. Not just oil. Okay, oil will help fuel everything and get the money going, but it's things like this. Okay, like we mine coal. And I have uh, somebody I know who works in the industry, and he just shakes his head every time carload of coal goes out. We don't refine it. Why don't we refine it here? Okay, and I'll tell you why. Okay, and even with the oil, we don't refine it here. Okay, there's the bitumen thing where we could be manufacturing a whole bunch of different goods, and we don't do that here. And here's why: that the big money in the states that own the refineries and the bitumen processing and the coal, like we ship coal to China, and it's raw. We don't refine it here. Why don't we refine it here? I mean, we can employ people here, right? So we need to develop all those things need to be developed. And the reason they're not developed, I know years ago, a steel industry that they were beginning to develop the steel industry in Alberta, and then it got squashed. While the big people down east who own have the big money and the big factories came here and bought it up and just stopped it. So that can't happen. We can't let that happen. We need to develop, and it's short term. It's going to be painful, okay, because it's going to take money, but long term, we can be a strong country. Okay, we can. Things like this, like the bitumen thing. Like I'm no politician, and I'm just a regular guy, but I see what's going on, and I do have a brain. And the things I see are we need to, like the bitumen. If we found a place out in the prairie, someplace that's not very inhabited, away, and build a manufacturing plant, whatever we're going to make, plastics, whatever. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things we can do, right? And then build a town, and then we need people to work, right? So we need immigrants is what we need because our local population is just not there. And what we need are immigrants. We don't need doctors and lawyers. We need guys who can work. We need family men. Okay, so and men who will come and put the right foot forward and work. And then with them come to Canada. Here's a job, right? And with a future and a retirement and build a town, build communities. Like, why can't we do that? Just have a little bit of foresight, and we can be great. Okay. I'm not really familiar with all the industry in Alberta and what possibilities there are, but I do know that if we let someone else dictate our future, that's exactly what it's going to be. We can take hold of these things. We can do it. Okay. Um, Again, I propose making Alberta great. Um, we can be great. We can be, people have said, guys could be like Dubai. Not that I want to be like Dubai. And it's not just about money either. Okay. Like I've said, it's about self determination. And, we have an opportunity right now. And I'm trying to appeal to the people who are on the fence, say all these things, um, to try to spurn you to rethink. I know I go to the gym and I talk to everybody. Um, and in the best place for discussion, I guess, is in the sauna. And there's a few guys in there, and they're middle aged. They work at the city, um, in the oil patch, and so, some of them they're not in favor of separation. And when I ask them why you're not in favor of separation, well, they're afraid that everything's going to go downhill. Everything's not going to go downhill. I mean, we need, like I said, we have Daniel Smith develop the industry. We need to look ahead. Okay. If I was Daniel, I would do this: get the CPP here and old age security, and get that going. Number one, what you'll do is some of the older folks who are afraid that they're going to lose their pension and secure the pension, get it going out of Alberta. Okay. The next thing we need to do is we need to get rid. Okay, just speaking, we need to get rid of the RCMP. And we need to get rid of the RCMP and have our own provincial police. Okay, that if it comes to Ottawa trying to enforce things using the RCMP, if they're not here, they can't enforce it. Okay. The next thing we need to do is we need a militia, like the same thing that the United States did when they broke free. We need to, okay, the gun ban. Uh, Smith stood up and said, well, we're not going to enforce it here. Well, we need to take the gun laws, all the restrictions, throw them out the window, arm the people, arm the people. There's a whole bunch of pluses for this, you know, um, start a militia, weekend warriors. Where are you going to start your military from? I mean, they have one here. I mean, we have Suffield and Cold Lake, Edmonton, right? But we need to, and our defense, we need to work on it. We need to start, because if you don't start somewhere, you ain't going to do anything. And having a militia would be the start of that. Take all the gun ban. Oh, if it was me in this province, I'd take all the restrictions off. AR, whatever you want, right? Uh, Weapons. You want to pack a weapon? Go ahead. You need a permit, okay? Not just given to just anyone. And what is that going to do? Well, people, in the states where they have open carry, the crime rate, the violent crime is way down. Okay, you catch somebody on your property, you have the right to shoot him. Okay, just like that fellow in Ontario there, he got charged at first, and it was like, well, self-defense. I mean, we need to bring back flipping rules. It's not just la la la. Okay, little Johnny didn't know what he was doing. Well, you need to educate little Johnny. Okay, so I'm for getting rid of all the gun laws. You can carry a weapon if you want. Okay, it's simple. What it does is it causes respect. You know, you don't have to like the guy, but respect him. Okay, because he has, if everybody carried the power to really hurt people, you would see a lot more respect. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Some big dudes over here on the east side, at a certain drinking establishment. I won't say where it is or what it was called. Anyways, there was this fellow in the bar, and he was big dude, and he was a flippin' bully. And I wasn't there, but I heard stories that he was being very demeaning to this little Filipino man. And he pushed him too far. The Filipino man went up to the truck, got his handgun, came in, put two in his chest. Okay. I mean, it's terrible. But I mean, if that bully knew that anybody in that bar could be packing a weapon, I'm sure he would treat people a lot differently. Okay. The same, there was a CFL player. I don't know, it was quite a while ago. Um, and in a after hours bar, some little guy, I can just, I wasn't there and I never heard any stories, but I know what happened. That he got, maybe the little guy was, you're a football player, blah, blah, blah. And then a football player kind of um, embarrassed him or belittled him. Same thing. Guy went out to the car, come in, done, boom, boom, you're done. So, I mean, respect people. Okay. That's my deal. You don't have to like your neighbor, but respect him. Okay. It's really, really simple. Okay. Um, I think that's about it for today. I'm going to be back. Um, I'm a firm believer in God, in my Lord Jesus Christ. I will be back on here. I don't know when, sometime soon, to talk about things in the church, salvation, talk about the Bible, the story behind the story. Because if you really study what has been hidden from us, I guess, that mainstream Christianity or mainstream churchianity doesn't want to touch. It's everything from story beside story, Genesis chapter 6. It's just when you learn these things, somebody points them out to you. Read here, read this. What's that mean? Right? It becomes, to me, the Bible comes alive and it's real. When you see all these things in the earth. Anyways, for today, I'm just going to leave it there and have a blessed rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.